So I'm Susan Brenner, and I specialize in the treatment of anxiety disorders. But first I wanted to kind of start out by just kind of explaining the difference between just standard anxiety and then the disorder itself. So anxiety could be that you get into an argument with somebody you really love, or you're getting ready to take a really major exam, or you're standing up here talking to Celebration Community Beach Church for the first time, okay? But the reason, or one thing about that type of anxiety is I know why I'm anxious. I know why. But with a disorder, you don't understand why. You just have the symptoms. So what I like to do is I'm going to first start out with, it's a wolf story, to kind of give a stage to kind of move into more about mindfulness. So there's an Indian chief talking with his grandson and explaining that there's a battle that's going inside of all of us. And it's between the evil and the good wolf. And the evil wolf is boastful, envious, irrational, anxious, fearful, and those type of attributes. And the good wolf is loving, caring, kind, rational, and mindful. And the grandson sits there and ponders this for a minute, and then asks his grandfather, which one survives? His grandfather simply replies, the one that you feed. So when we look at the two wolves, and we're talking about someone with an anxiety disorder, their evil wolf is really strong. They've been feeding him very, very well. He goes to the gym every day, he eats protein, he's stellar. And where's the good wolf? I think down at NCH with a little IV in the arm, being a little sarcastic with this, but basically they're feeding into the evil wolf, which then increases their anxiety. And the main thing is how do we make that conversion then from feeding the evil wolf into the good wolf? And that's through awareness. And so how do we create awareness? And that's through mindfulness. So let me just explain a little bit about what mindfulness is. Mindfulness is just being in the present moment, the now. And it's about observing our feelings, emotions, our environment without judgment. Just noticing them. And just staying right here. And I know this is easier said than done, because I've been actually training in mindfulness now for over 7 years. So the main thing is, like I said, is it's creating that awareness. And so within mindfulness, we divide it into two parts. One is practicing mindfulness, and the other is using mindfulness. But if we don't practice, we can't use it. It's just like let's think about an NFL football player. If they don't practice, they're not bringing it home at game day. So practice is key here. I'm just going to give you a little definition of what practicing means. So I've really gotten more involved in, coloring. Never thought I'd like coloring. But there's some great adult coloring books out there now, by the way. And I like the color pencils myself. So when I want to practice mindfulness, I sit down and I color for a while. And I intentionally decide for the next 10 minutes, I'm just going to color. And if any thoughts come into my mind, good or bad, evil wolf, good wolf, it doesn't matter. I'm going to observe that thought and go back to my coloring. And what that does is it creates an awareness that a thought is coming in. Because especially with someone with anxiety disorder, they're not even registering that the thought's coming in. They're just automatically feeding the evil wolf. And then all they notice is that symptomology. My heart's going fast, my mouth's dry, those type of symptoms. So again, so practicing is just that. Focusing on something in the present moment with all of your attention. And then as the thoughts come in, we observe them, but we don't feed into them. We don't do anything. We just observe it and go back to mindfulness. And that's the practice. And again, all it does is create awareness. So that when I move into regular thought, and a thought pops in my mind, I'm going to notice it. And then I can decide what wolf I want to feed. So one thing is key, is that situations are going to occur in our life, and we have no control over that. But one thing we do have control over is the way that we react to the emotions attached to that situation. And the way that we do that is through practicing mindfulness, so I can have control over those emotions. Then it's amazing how different our experience is, because now we have control over our reactions rather than reacting to a situation. So one thing I want to ask everyone then is, what wolf are you feeding?